Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the AAS YouTube channel. And this one is another in the UAT series, Unified Astronomy Thesaurus. And I'm super happy to have Katie Frey with us today. Hey, Katie.
Hi, Frank. How are you?
I'm doing well on this post-equinox going into winter solstice day. It's still reaching mid-90s in Phoenix, although in the morning we are cooling off to about 75, mid-70s in the early mornings. So.
Sounds wonderful. I mean, I know it's a lot hotter there than like San Diego, but I'm from San Diego, so I'm still adjusting, even though it's been 8 years, to this winter thing that I have going on in Boston.
I imagine the leaves are turning in the East Coast.
Yeah, they are, and that's really pretty. I get a nice view of the tree outside my window here, and I really enjoy that.
So I didn't know you were from San Diego. I spent some time in San Diego. Whereabouts are you from there?
Just like a small town north of San Diego City proper called Poway. No one really knows about it too much, but
I do.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. I spent a part of my high school year in the North County, so I was up around San Diego, Encinitas, Leucadia, that area. So
yeah, okay.
Poway, definitely. Cool. Oh, we discovered a connection. No, we had.
Yeah.
Very good. So this one is going to be about the UAT usage in AAS Journals. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and I believe you have a presentation. So why don't we go ahead and do the screen share, and we will talk about UAT in the AAS Journals.
All right. Yeah, I just have a few slides to show kind of the usage stats that I've been able to gather. So, all right, let me get to the first slide here, really. As I know, oh, sorry, what was that?
Looks good.
Yeah, so I know we covered before, the AAS Journals adopted the UAT back in June of 2019. So that's kind of the starting baseline for everything. And in the last, about year and a half or so, I've collected a couple of different snapshots of usage. So the first one was in December. It was ahead of the AAS meeting. At that point, there had been 772 new AAS articles published, and those articles were using 856 unique UAT concepts, which maybe that seems like kind of like a low number, but the UAT has 2,100 concepts about, and the previous keyword system was the astronomy subject keyword, only had 600 concepts total for the whole system. Okay. So, here we are 6 months into usage, and we're already using more than what was available before, and about 40% of what's available in the UAT. So that seemed like a pretty good start. The next snapshot I took was in April of 2020, and I did this one ahead. I was kind of preparing for a library conference that got pushed back because of 2020 and other things, but I still have the snapshot. So that was pretty neat. And it's another 5 months later, and there's been a lot more articles published, another 2,000 total articles using 1,090 concepts. So we're over 50% of UAT usage in less than a year of adoption by AAS. And in the most recent snapshot in September, this one was also for the same library conference that just happened a few weeks ago. And here there's 4,500 AAS articles and 1,400 unique concepts. So we've gone up to over 2/3 usage of the UAT in about a year and like 3 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think that's pretty good. It just shows that there's a lot of adoption of the UAT, and more importantly, it shows that all these new concepts are useful and relevant to the astronomers and researchers. They're using over twice as many concepts now that they had access to 2 years ago.
Right.
So that seems pretty great. So then next, I just thought I'd show some information about the most common concepts used so far. So these are, again, from those 3 different snapshots. And it's kind of interesting. Interstellar medium has just continued to have high usage up at the top there. And star formation is pretty high up there. you can see like solar flare went from, I don't know if my mouse is visible here, from the bottom, and it kind of went up to the middle and stayed there. So getting some interesting things here. Again, we only have about a year and 3 months worth of data. So.
No, it's this will be pretty cool in a couple of years. You can track trends in hot topics that come, and other topics that may wane, I guess, waxing and waning. So this is actually pretty cool. I'm actually kind of surprised that interstellar medium is currently #1. That's interesting.
I mean, I guess from June of 2019 to September, just a lot of people were writing about that comparatively. I mean, there's only 277 articles, total in the most recent snapshot. So it's not a lot, but it has the largest amount as a topic.
Judy Pfeiffer will be very glad to hear that.
So these are the top 15 concepts, and I actually just double checked again before this call that the concepts below these actually do have less usage. It's not just kind of an arbitrary cutoff, which I was kind of afraid of happening. If I cut it off at like the top 6, exoplanets and solar wind are both equal, so it would be hard to tell like what the actual top concept is.
Distribution all the way down to 0. So this is the upper end of the distribution. So
So, and something else I wanted to show with this is, so I've kind of highlighted here that these 13 concepts highlighted in each column show up in all 3 of these top 15 lists. So what's really interesting is not those 13, but these 5 concepts. And so I have space plasmas twice actually in 2 different lists. So there's 5 concepts here that only show up, once or twice towards the top 15.
Yeah, there could be lots of reasons for some of these short-term trends, right? It's not a long baseline. But it is kind of true that a topic will come up and all of a sudden there'll be a flurry of activity in it. And so that will give a spike in perhaps particular UAT concepts. Also, things like mission data releases will often lead to a number of articles being submitted. So it will depend a little bit on what missions are flying and when they're doing data releases, public data releases. So very good.
I definitely expect we'll see those trends, as we make more snapshots in the future. Something else interesting about all these concepts is that except for one of them, none of them are leaf concepts. And by leaf concepts, I mean concepts at like the very end, the narrowest concept that has no child concepts below it.
Right.
Magnetohydrodynamics is a leaf concept, and it's actually been used a fair amount of times, in the most overall in the last year and 3 months of usage. That's interesting to me. It might indicate that this concept actually should have child concepts, that it needs more specificity if it's being used so much and there's nothing else below it. But it's a little early to tell for that for usage. But it's a trend that I'm interested in.
Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head of what might be suitable leafs off of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But with them, but unless there's a demand for it, it sort of covers fields and fluids.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to keep an eye on this concept because I think that kind of shows that there might be a demand. And I mean, and I say that because you have interstellar medium and it can be paired with a lot of different concepts to kind of get a better sense of what the paper is about. So you kind of expect to see these kind of broad overarching categories to show up more frequently in the common concepts, while the leaf concepts would be less frequent. So it's just interesting to see this one up so high.
It is.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on that one as time goes by.
So speaking of concept pairs, I also pulled out the top concept pairs for all these snapshots as well. So here, I'll show this one. This is back from December. So these are the top 20 pairs I couldn't show all three in one slideshot because they were just too wide. So I did top 20. And you can see, this is again 6 months of usage. There aren't a lot of concepts that co-occur. But as I was saying, you have these kind of the broader concepts like quasars, and you can see how it's paired with active galactic nuclei up here. And then down here, it's paired with supermassive black holes. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of gives you a better sense of, how the papers about supermassive black holes and active galactic nuclei are going to be a little bit different, even though they're both about quasars also.
So AGN, active galactic nuclei, have a number of related concepts or children.
Yeah, it does have a few.
One comment,
mm-hmm.
Is this a prediction because the date says December 16th, 2020?
No, that's a typo. I meant 2019. Sorry.
Good. All good.
Good thing you caught that. Yeah, I think I was just typing away, and 2020 is the year that rolls off my fingers now. So,
all good.
So that's from December 2019. Okay. All right. So then the April snapshot, it's similar. You can see that the number of pairs that are used, there's more of them, right? We have 35 as our top used pair instead of just 7 from December. And you can see that you have supermassive black holes and quasars still paired up, active galactic nuclei. So a lot of the pairs are pretty similar. It's just there's a lot more usage going on here. And again, that's spread. Right. Then I also have the September one.
Okay.
Oh, actually, there was something else I wanted to point out. And let me go back to December. I wanted to point out something that I forgot. I made a note of this. You can see down here, you have solar wind and space plasmas. I hope you can see my mouse.
Yes.
And then you have, I already pointed out, active galactic nuclei and quasars up here. Okay. And when I go here, it's kind of interesting to see the active galactic nuclei and quasars are kind of in the middle now. And the solar wind and space plasmas
#1
have come way up, actually. Or yeah, solar wind and space plasmas way up at the top now.
Yep.
And then in September, solar wind and space plasmas are still dominating, while active galactic nuclei and quasars, they're kind of in that middle range again. So it's just kind of interesting to see how these concept pairs are also trending over time.
Absolutely. Yeah, this will be really interesting by the time we get a couple of years of data on this.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And then just a couple other slides here. The other interesting thing about this is if I'm looking at this most recent snapshot, I have these highlighted concepts, and these are ones that actually don't appear in the list of top 15 concepts from September that I showed earlier. So these are all concepts that are less frequent overall, but have high co-occurrence with another concept.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They prefer binaries.
Yeah. So
that was
interesting to see that shift. Yeah. And then these concepts, which are kind of subset of that previous slide, these are actually all leaf concepts that I was talking about before, which is, again, more what we would expect, these leaf concepts to be paired with more general and more broad concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So these are children or leaf, or these are the high levels?
The highlighted ones are the leaf concepts. So there's no like high redshift galaxies. There's no child concept underneath that one, but it has parent concepts, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, we can finally see that those specific concepts coming up and being used in a broader sense, and they're paired with these concepts that are highly used in the UAT in the data set overall.
Cool.
So, that's kind of the usage so far. As we get, more data and more usage, we'll be able to draw more definitive conclusions. This is from September. It's a year and 3 months since adoption. So
that's great. That's great. Well, thank you very much for sharing that current information. It's actually useful from a journal perspective on where the corridors are relative to what's being submitted and what the UAT concepts are. So very nice. And again, it'll be really cool to get 4 or 5 years worth of data under the belt and see various trending, all kinds of metrics one could pull from that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be really interesting to see it over time. So that's why I'm trying to get these snapshots every few months if I can, or every half year.
Do you do other journals as well, or other UAT usage cases?
Well, this is the only one that has this much history, actually. So the Space Telescope Science Institute has also adopted the UAT for describing proposals. So if you're proposing to use the Hubble Space Telescope, and in the future, hopefully the James Webb Telescope, you have to choose a UAT concept to describe your proposal.
Got it.
And so I have some information from the most recent cycle of accepted proposals, but again, that's just one data set. So there's not much you can get out of that without any other additional, context to see if there's any trends. So that would be interesting to see going forward. The publications of the Astronomical Society of the Pacific have also adopted the UAT, but very, very recently. So I think in the September batch, there were like maybe 20 articles that had UAT concepts. So I didn't want to bring that up to show the data.
I understood. But in time, there will be other data sources, I guess was the point, and you can see the correlation between them, or the differences in what they publish or what people propose. I mean, it'll just be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, the International Virtual Observatory is also adopting the UAT.
Okay.
So their papers and their objects and everything they have in their observatory are going to be tagged with UAT concepts. And so that'll be interesting to see as well, how that gets used.
Very cool. So I look forward to doing another one of these videos in a year or so, and we can see what the trends are.
All right, sounds good.
Cool. Katie, thank you so much for sharing that data with us. And thank you, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.